Hi, I'm Beatriz. Welcome back to my channel where I teach realistic looking watercolors. Today we are painting this glowing desert rock arch, inspired by the delicate arch and Arches National Park. The lesson is simple: big light and shadow shapes first, and only a few cracks at the end. With the distant sky and the distant shapes. These also add to the sunlit mood of the whole painting. Before we start painting, I want you to keep one idea in mind. Rocks do not look real because we paint every little crack. They do look real when we get the right balance of light and shadows. So let's go to the paper and start with the big shapes first. So we're gonna do this wet on wet. So I'm starting by wetting my paper. What we're painting today is called the Delicate Arch and Arches National Park is in Utah, the United States. I am wetting all over here and leaving this part dry. So this is cobalt blue, and then I go with more color here and then with a little bit less here. As always, the tracing templates and the reference pictures for this painting are in the paint along pack on my Patreon, and I will leave the link below. I'm going with from more to less color, meaning more color in the top, less color at the bottom. Like I was saying before, I wet everything, including the arch. Why? Because otherwise my arch will look as if it is copy and paste. A little bit of the blue got inside here. It's okay. I don't mind because I can do one or two things. I could lift it if I wanted it. I could go with my brush and then just lift. Or, which is what I will prefer in this case, I'm going to allow that to be there because I'm going to have shadows and that color is going to work on my favor when I put the shadows. One thing that I want to do now, because I'm trying to replicate a bit of the golden hour, is I'm going to come with burnt sienna. I'm going to drop a little bit of it right here. I am not trying to make this sky complicated at all. I want it to be beautiful. But one thing I can do is come with a thirsty brush. Thirsty brush meaning a brush that has almost no water. And I can lift a few of these with direction. And yes, some of the water will come back. I'm not trying to make it completely dry. I just want to give a few impressions. Let's just do one pass around here too. I'll warm this up a little bit by coming with a little bit of magenta. Just put some here. Then I'm gonna take my time into blending these ones. This is a little bit about timing. Now that I still got wetness, but this shine on my paper have starting to disappear. So this is a good time for me to put this distance mountains so they will not compete later with our arch. We want the arch to stay the main character. So burnt sienna and a little bit of neutral tint. To the burnt sienna that we were using, I'm bringing more of the cobalt blue, and we're gonna darken these distant mountains a little bit more, especially at the bottom. I'm gonna allow some of the other color to show, but not everywhere. Yes, a little bit of it is coming into my my arch or this other rock. I don't mind. If it bothers you, you could just go with that tissue and lift some of that. A little bit of the brown came inside there, so let's just lift it. Let's just make like a cloud. I'm losing a little bit of my light colors here, so yeah, back to the thirsty brush and back to bringing them back a little bit. Still want this to be a little bit darker, so I'm coming with the same colors, just obviously darker, and we're gonna drop some here at the bottom, here and there. Not trying to stay a little bit away from the sky, but I can bring it closer to the arch. Let me put a couple more of these wispy lines that we almost lost. And yes, putting these mountains here is good to do it while they are wet, because otherwise they will be too sharp and the eye will go there. Now, because we put in it while that is still a little bit of moist, not fully wet, then our eye is gonna go to the arch, and these mountains are gonna of stealing the attention from the arch. At this point, I think that I need to let all of this dry beautifully. We got beautiful transitions, so now it is time to start painting the rug. This rug needs to feel like a big solid form. I'm gonna start coming with a translucent orange by Sminky and resist the temptation to come very strong right away. Watercolor is always done better if we build them little by little, like thin layers. This warm area is doing a lot of work for us because it tells the viewer where the sun is hitting. Yes, I am working on dry paper, but because I'm coming with a brush, a blending brush right away that carries more water, the blending is happening in the paper as if it was wet on wet. However, by doing it this way, I have more control over where my paint is going or where it's staying. So it's not going outside the arch boundaries, for example. At this point, I'm gonna wet this part. I'm gonna apply it wet on wet. While my arch is drying, I'm gonna apply the same translucent orange in the areas where the sun will be hitting too strong. I'm gonna start darkening it by coming with burnt sienna. This is the burnt sienna by Winsor & Newton. Then I'm coming with the burnt sienna of Sminky. While it's wet, I'm gonna drop a little bit of the cobalt blue here and there. We allow all these colors to blend in the paper while everything still has moist. We let all of this dry. Everything has dried beautifully, and now it's time for a shadow. So to the colors that I was having before, the mix of the translucent orange and burnt sienna, I'm coming now with burnt umber by Sminky. And then I'm making myself a darker variations of browns. I'm coming with the darker colors, and then I go with my blending brush. At this moment, I still don't want to have too much of a hard edges. I just want to put the darks and the lights, differentiate where one and the other go. And yes, a lot of beginners feel a little intimidated by putting dark colors, but don't. Otherwise, your paintings will look flat. It's important to have contrast between light and dark. With my brush, as my blending brush, I pick up some of that, bring it out, and in some areas I get in a little bit of texture. That's good. This is what is making the rug feel thick and heavy, and as we go down, it will make it look grounded. I came with a translucent orange, a little bit thicker, and then I'm just gonna blend it. Why do I put in it right now? To blend with the dark color, to have a transition between them two, like that. So as I was mentioning before, I come and I put some darks. Then I go with my blending brush. I blend some of this, then I come and I spread some of that, because sometimes the water has a tendency to push the darker colors away. If you feel like it needs to be darker, you can go ahead and bring it back. It's important that I get my shadows dark enough, otherwise the arch will look flat and weak. So I'm coming in this area with a strong enough color so the arch will retain the heaviness needed. The important thing is to keep in mind how the direction of the rug, so that way you can put your strokes in the right direction. I mean, if I was gonna go very cool, this rug will not look right. I'm allowing some of my light to show, so I am not coming with the darker everywhere and leaving this little kind of line so that the light is there. For this bottom part, I'm coming to the same colors. I added a little bit of neutral tint because this part here is gonna start getting darker. And for my blending, instead of coming with water alone, I'm coming with the colors that I was having there. So therefore my transition is not as sharp. However, you go back and forth, then you could pick up enough color, this new color, to do the blending too. So I guess you have two ways to do it. Here now I'm coming with the lighter color, and I'm gonna finish putting the shadow by allowing these two colors to blend. Two things are happening here right now. Are we allowing some of this orange to show, plus all the shadow, and it's giving the heaviness of the rock, but also the glow of this golden hour where the sun is setting. I have over here a highlight while everything is wet. If I come with my brush, this is my 4 Scura Perla, and I just lift a little bit with a little bit of the dark next to it. Everything is wet. I'm not trying to be perfect, but I am putting the dark against the light that I just left. Put a little bit more dark over here and blend. Now we let all of this dry, and I can come back later and drop whatever colors I need. Once again, I'm gonna re-wet this part, and I'm gonna come and drop these darker colors now over here. Putting the darker colors at the bottom of the arch so that we anchor it, and then we're just gonna bring the other ones, and we're gonna start have them blend here and the ground. I want to maintain the glow, so the darks stay only around here, and then I come with the light oranges that we were having before, and I just bring those to maintain this glow, but I want them to blend and the paper. Lastly, I blend these two because I don't want to have a hard edge. This is all a continuation, so just a little bit of blending, and we let this dry. Now the big light and shadow shapes are in place. I want to straighten it, the evening glow. For that, I'm gonna come with a glaze, and a glaze is very diluted colors. In this case, it's gonna be gold, quinacridone gold. We're gonna warm the areas that belong to the light family, the places where the sun is catching the rock. So very light. Come all over. I am not pushing, just dropping the color. Inside of the arch, I'm gonna glaze with only orange, the translucent orange that I was using at the very beginning, and then I switch to the queen gold again. Look how much sunlight this is giving me. For this big one, I'm coming with a queen gold first all over, even in this other one that we left before. And once I have this, I come with my orange, and then we're gonna drop our little lines here or there. Then I just top it up, top with queen gold. Now our big rock looks sunlit, which is what we wanted, and solid. However, I feel like I had to strain a couple of the darks are here, so I'm coming with that kind of chocolate color that I was having, the neutral 10 with brown umber. I'm coming with a little bit of that, and then I go with a soft brush and a top. If I put a few darks closer to the lights, that's gonna make my lights look even lighter and brighter. So now I bring some of the blending brush outside, and I'm gonna try to make a little bit of a texture, kind of like a dry brush. The technique here is like we lightly blend, but we do not push hard, otherwise we will remove all the layers that we have built so carefully. With the brown sienna and the brown umber, we're going to put a few cracks and crevices, but I don't need 100 of them. Just already has their weight. It is because of the light and the shadow, but these marsh arches here to explain a little bit of the surface. So maybe a couple here, here and there. Now with the burnt sienna and a little bit of the orange, I'm gonna have a transition. So because this is moving around, I give a little bit of form to this so that it makes sense. Now these little details, not much, just so that it makes sense into the shape of the rock. Another little one over here. And we already have that, so now we just blend. I'm gonna put a couple very little here or there because we have a big area, nothing major, just suggestions, and then tap, one bit here. And I think that for this part, we're gonna leave that done. Let's just move on to this other one. This one, I'm gonna start with a little bit of my darker color. And I'm gonna build like a little indentation here. So darker around here. I'm using a number 2. Now and the orange, the translucent orange. Let's just blend these two together and go from more to less. Now burnt sienna. Now I come with the burnt umber and I carve this other end. Okay, and then light, and light. Okay. I did add a few cracks and dark marks, but I'm not trying to describe every single detail here. Also build by lifting, so I'm going to make this a little bit lighter because the warm light gives us the sunlight feeling and the darker shapes is what is giving us the weight. So I need to have a good balance of them too. I'm trying to recreate the evening glow, but not every detail that is in the reference picture. However, all these soft mountains that we put in the back at the very beginning, that when it was soft, it is reinforcing the feeling of the evening light. If you would like to have the reference picture next to you, all the tracing pictures, they are in my Patreon. I'm going to link it on the description. Now let's go back with a little bit of orange. Let's just recap about this painting. We set up to have the weight of the rock. We accomplished that. The glow of the evening hour, we accomplished that by leaving the highlights, but also by keeping our distant mountains soft and having a little bit of that warm in the sky. Also by keeping our rock solid by having the lights and shadows building and giving them strength. I hope that you learned something out of this video. If you like what you see, I will appreciate a subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. As always, I thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video.